I want to share a story with you. It's very touching, I think. It has been to me. It's the story of Bill. I've known him for a long time. He and his wife, Karen, have been members of this church. And these last years of Bill's life have been spent really in growing along spiritual lines and in becoming of maximum service to God and to the people around him. It's true. He's one of the dearest, sweetest people that I know. And if he stood up on this platform at this moment, if he could, all of you would recognize him. You have seen him around this place. He has really helped a lot of people. But prior to that time, when his life began to change, Bill had been arrested some 80 times, a lot of times, because of his alcoholism and the side effects, the difficulties, the scrapes that he got himself into. He put all that behind him. He was doing a wonderful job. And then a few months ago, he was accused unjustly, as a matter of fact, of something that he simply did not do. And because of his case history and the fact that he was on probation or parole, he was sent back. Now, listen to the story. Good morning, Jack. It's a beautiful sunny morning with the sun glistening off the sharp edges of the concertina wire strung double across the tops of the double 20-foot fences surrounding this prison compound. There's some belief systems that might say that I'm a prisoner here, incarcerated unjustly for a crime that I did not do. Those same folks would tell you that I should be filled with anger and bitterness, spending my days and nights ruminating my sorrows and worries. Well, I understand that system of thought because I was once very much like that back in the 70s before I let the good news into my life. The simple fact of the matter is my true freedom is not dependent upon location or circumstances. I'm not a prisoner. This is merely an assignment in God's wonderful plan for me. I'm here to carry out that assignment, demonstrating excellence in all that I think or say or do. You see, God doesn't punish. God teaches. But as the years have rolled by, those assignments have appeared to get increasingly difficult, and some people have said to me, it's just not fair. My answer to them is, fair is a word used by those who don't yet understand how much confidence God has in me. You're a good friend, Jack, and I've written to tell you what you already know, that I'm doing well. We're still going all the way to the top together. I've just taken a temporary side trip through the town of adversity. As always, I'm demonstrating success in the midst of circumstances custom made for failure. And then Bill goes on to list a series of things that he's doing, exciting, positive things that he's doing on a daily basis. In closing, I would like to share an experience I had since being incarcerated. It took place in cell block number 7 at Jackson Prison. There are not adequate words to describe to you the full impact of quarantine in the full sense, but I'll try. Picture in your mind's eye nearly 600 individual cells stacked on top of each other, 50 to a layer, 5 layers on each side of a large building with a man in each, facing the front of his cell, looking out and down upon the base floor of the cell block. Rays of morning sun are intermittently streaming through the occasional 5-inch window pane, stretching shafts of light across the eternal grayness of a building housing the hopeless. It's 9 a.m., and a black minister is holding a Baptist church service on the ground floor, observable from my cell as well as from the others. There are 12 prisoners dressed in state clothes in attendance. And the minister begins singing in gospel fashion, Amazing Grace. And he was great. I stood observing and listening. And I thought of you and me, Jack. The minister asked the 12 to join him in song. On the next verse, each of the 12 began to timidly participate in barely perceptible voices. Remember, it isn't cool to love God when you're a tough guy. The minister said, let's really sing it. And the 12 sang louder this time. I watched the other cells as I listened. Some were raising from their sleep. Some initially yelled obscenities. Knock that noise off. But the minister and the 12 just kept singing Amazing Grace louder and louder. I watched some of my fellow prisoners' lips in the observing cells begin to move. And then quietly sing. And then, as if the hand of God raised the whole cell block up, the entire cell block rang with every man singing Amazing Grace at the top of his voice. As I sang with all my heart, tears streaming down my cheeks, tears of joy, one of the sparrows that lived in the cell block flew, landing in front of my cell, illuminated by one of the shafts of light, holding a small piece of branch in his beak. I tell you, Jack, I felt as Noah must have. And then the voice within spoke, I will never leave you, Bill. You're my beloved child. Your heart is my home, and my heart is the place you will never leave, no matter how far you may go. It was fantastic, Jack. I knew then that I was brought to prison to become free. God is so good to me. Just wanted you to know that I love you. We don't get Channel 50 up here, so I don't get to watch you on Sundays. But I have a picture of you and of me and Karen together. I have it pinned in my bunk. In fact, I'm looking at it as I write. And we both look good, Jack. I'll be back in the front row at your 9 a.m. service before you know it. Write me if you get a chance. Enthusiastically. Bill. That was 2.5 years ago. Bill's on the front row.